21st day of January 2020, you are welcome to Youth Empowerment Television Show. This afternoon, I want to tell you that the only way you can succeed is by, doing what you are advising other people to do, because we tend to give the best advice, but when we look at ourselves, we'll be doing otherwise. Today on my show, I'll be talking about whether you know yourself. How well do you know yourself? I wouldn't be doing it alone, obviously, and I have the African Giant. That is the new name I've given to him. So whether he likes it or not, I've given it to him on the show. Loyo, go here. You would get to meet him right after the break. Stay. From that break. So if you just tune into Pan-African Television, we are live also on Facebook. So if you are just watching us, then let me remind you that today on Youth Empowerment Television Show, we'll be talking about whether you know yourself that well. So you can send your questions, you can get interactive with us. Just send your messages, your questions coming through on 0260-846539, 0260-846539, or just leave your comments on Facebook. I would read them. I have Loyogo here, the African Giant. I keep calling him that. And I have a couple of questions. So if you also have yours, you can just send them in. Say you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year. this just got us there.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm seeing you in 2020.
Yes,
you're welcome to 2020.
Thank you so much.
Same to me.
Yes.
So today, this topic is very, very interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
How well do you know yourself?
Yeah.
I was thinking about it all through last night, and I was like, Mika, how well do I even know myself? So I just put up some few questions,
okay,
and I want to know, what questions am I supposed to be asking myself if I want to know myself? What are the questions that I'm supposed to be asking myself?
Wow. Okay. First, a very good afternoon to everyone that is watching.
Mm-hmm.
That question, how well do you know yourself, is something that a lot of people take for granted. Okay, but it's actually the foundation of almost everything we're going to do in life. Whether it relates to our health or our relationships or anything, the knowledge of self has a way of helping you thrive in life, and in that regard, the first question that everyone must ask is, who am I? Okay. Who am I? A lot of times people take that for granted, okay? Because some of the times we even look at ourselves in the mirror without realizing who we truly are. We dwell so much on what people say we are, the applause we get, the criticisms we get, or what we are known for. And most of the times what we are known for is what we do. But that's not who you are. So a person must take time to understand who he or she is before you can say you know yourself. That is a process of self-discovery. Okay. So if I'm going to say, who am I? I'm actually doing a trace of where I am coming from. The mistakes of my parents.
Oh, of your parents?
Of my parents.
Okay.
The mistakes of my parents, the things they did right, the socialization I had. If I had grown up in the US and not in Ghana, what would my life have been? Things like that. There's just very fundamental questions that I must ask myself. And then I must also pay attention to what I have come to call in most of my writings, the genetic signature. Okay, there is a way I look, there's a way I behave, there's a way I act, there's a way I respond to things. Okay, there are certain health situations that I might even be dealing with because of where I was born, the people that gave birth to me, and the circumstances of my birth. All these things come together to make up who you are. And every time you don't pay attention to any of them, you might begin to eat the wrong things, because you're not paying attention to
your body.
To your body. Okay?
What is your body trying to tell you?
Okay. And when you look at it, you'll discover that there is somebody else that went through this thing where I come from. Okay. So at that point, you begin to advise yourself, okay? But if you don't pay attention to it, you would want to live your life like every other person, okay? And you're going to bring into your life people who do not fit into your life. Now, that's the more dangerous part. You bring people into your life who do not fit into your life. And so they're going to just mess up your life, and you will mess up their life because for some reason, there's a way you are. And these people just could not either manage you or support you to be the best you can be, do not even have the patience to understand you.
Okay, from what you've just said, mistakes of my parents or the environments that I grew up in, socialization, that is not my choice. I didn't make that choice. My parents did that. So if that has an effect on me, how do I manage it? How do I come back into, the best version of me?
Beautiful. That's a very, very important question because a lot of us carry around these past mistakes without actually realizing that that's what plays out in our lives, in our relationships, in our workplaces, and every other thing that we do. So the interesting thing here is that those mistakes traumatize you. Those mistakes cost a certain number of setbacks in your life.
Yeah.
Now, if you do not heal from them, you carry that junk into your relationship. You carry that junk into your workplace. You carry that junk into your academics. And it's just going to continue to cause more setbacks. And that is why that question is very, very important. How well do you know yourself? Because it's going to give you the opportunity to take stock, the opportunity to look at your life, or reflect upon your life, and ask yourself certain fundamental questions. And then you can see that some of the times you may have made up your mind and said that because of the way my mother treated my father, I'm not going to let any woman treat me like that.
Exactly.
So I go into a relationship and all I busy myself with is looking for danger signals. When she speaks like this, I say, that sounds like my mother. And then you begin to react in the way you hoped your father had reacted. Okay? That's how we even become abusive. Because we haven't healed from the past.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you heal from the past, one of the things it does for you is that first you position yourself in such a way that says, okay, how do I address this matter? What do I do about it?
But that's the problem. People sometimes we don't even identify them as a problem.
We don't. The moment I am beginning to say, I will never let any woman treat me the way my mom treated my dad. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Now remember that if you have not healed, then you are not thinking about it from the right perspective. You're bitter. And that bitterness is going to be reflected. Now notice, the lady is not your mother. But you're going to treat her the way you wished your father treated your mother. Yeah. So you slap her around, you push her around, you mistreat her, you speak to her harshly and all of that. And it could be that whatever it is that she's doing may not have led to that. I'll give you an instance. So you feel that your mother was not a very accountable woman. Yeah. And because of it, it caused high blood pressure for your father. Okay? So this lady comes into your life. Okay? And you ask her, where are you coming from? Now, she listens to your tone and feels that this is not the right way to speak to her, okay? And she says, calm down, okay? Why are you asking me this question like this? I was even going to tell you and all of that. But you're not giving her the opportunity to even explain. That immediately just gives you the impression that she's not accountable. Okay. It could also be a function of her socialization in terms of how people answer questions. Okay, she might say something like, I went somewhere to get something. She may not have said anything per se because she didn't give you any details. Yeah. But that could be her socialization. Okay. But immediately you see a danger signal. You see someone sounding like your mother. Then you begin to react. Why? Because you haven't healed from that past. And that's who you are. Not the fine guy that she fell in love with, but the battered guy that hasn't healed. And so it's going to manifest. See? And so the knowledge of self, is something that we take for granted so much, but it factors into everything.
Yes, because I'm quietly listening to you. Okay. I'm just picturing certain things. I'm not going to tell you guys whether it's me or not. You people want to know. So I'm like, yeah, there are certain things that, if I say people will know it's me. So let me just move on to my next question. There are certain questions that, in our society, the way we are brought up, people don't even look at themselves in the mirror to either compliment themselves or check, oh, is my breast positioned well? Is my nose okay? Like, we don't check that. Are there certain questions that we avoid that have an effect on our lives?
One of the biggest challenges towards knowing yourself is denial.
Okay.
And denial also proceeds either out of the bitterness or the trauma from the past which you haven't healed from, you know, or the fact that you actually do not hate or you do not like, you know, where you come from, you know, your roots. You know, we've had so many people talking about that. Dark people wishing they were white, white people wishing they were dark.
Yeah.
You know, and all kinds of things. And so we live in denial. And so even when you look into the mirror, you don't like what you see in the mirror, and you want to recreate yourself without realizing that your genetic signature, you know, your blood type, your body type, and all those things, okay, have a lot to do with the kind of person you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And so there are so many people that are starving themselves and will starve themselves to death because they want your kind of figure.
And I'm here busy eating, trying to gain weight.
See, you know, and so there's just that issue of denial, you know, and when you live in denial, you will never get to know yourself. You will never be able to discover yourself. And so the issue of self-worth, self-esteem, self-love, self-pride, all those things will be far away from you. You're definitely going to live in a complex.
All these things, I'm just pointing them back to our society, pointing them back to our parents, pointing them just back to where we grew up.
Yeah.
Because if you live in a society like the whites, my kid brothers are outside. If my kid brother knows how to swim,
Okay.
I don't know how to swim. Because it's part of his, you know, lessons.
Yeah.
It's part of his timetable.
Yeah.
But in my country, even if I go out for PE, parents are struggling so hard for us to take physical exercise out of our you know, our timetable or something like that. So I'm just positioning this whole thing back to our society. So before we can, you know, get to know ourselves, I believe we should do something about our society.
True. Society plays a very important role. Okay, I mean, you are talking about people that have lived outside. You look at the standards of education in Europe and in the US and in Canada and all of that, and the psychology, you know, with which they develop the curriculum that they teach their children with. You see that it's a bit different from what we have here, you know, and sadly, it doesn't have to be what they give. All right, but we are also walking away from our culture, and so the values that we're supposed to teach our children is not even there, and so we walk into environments being very, very disadvantaged. You know, I don't think I want to be like an American, okay, but there's nothing wrong with being taught the things that will help you in the future, okay, and things that will guide you in the path that you're supposed to walk. And so the question we must ask ourselves, and this is, you know, to society and the system and to the government and all of that, where is our education system taking us as a society? What is the content that we teach our children in school? What are they supposed to know? Okay. In all fairness to the Ghana Education Service, right now, you know, even in the primary schools, you know, they are being taught, you know, arts, you know, creative arts and all of that, and they are beginning to use Africans as point of reference.
Oh, really?
Yes, they talk about Fela, they talk about Basket Mouth, they talk about Samoa Jan and all of that. You know, these people are worth studying, all right? And we learn from their mistakes, we learn from their strengths, we pick up values from learning from our own people. Why? Because they grew up just like you. You know, they went through the system that is not functional. You know,
they all sat in the sand with us.
Yes, and they were able to thrive. So what is it that made them thrive? How can you imbibe that value as well? Okay, so I mean, the American is learning to be an American. The African can also learn to be an African. But our systems have got to create that environment that help us discover ourselves and walk in it.
Then that's when I want to ask, what am I supposed to yearn to experience? What is this? What is it that I'm supposed to, you know, strive, wake up every morning and be yearning, itchy that I should experience this?
So the first thing is that where you're coming from, okay, has a lot to do with where you're going to.
Okay.
So, and this is to parents, okay. pay attention to your children. You know, help them discover themselves. We all cannot be lawyers. We all cannot be doctors. You know, we all cannot be football players. We all cannot be singers or actors and all of that. But what is it that runs, you know, through your family? What is it that runs through your family that when you are observing your children, you can see some of these traits? Encourage them to build it up, okay? Encourage them to build it up. If people are passionate about what they are doing, they will find fulfillment in it, okay? And then we have laid so much emphasis on money. It has to be about how much you have been able to make. What kind of house are you living in? What kind of car
I was about
are you
to ask
driving?
that. I was about to ask that. Apart from money, is there anything I'm supposed to be eager? Because if your parents take you through education from crèche through primary, through junior high school to senior high school, through the university, they are expecting that you graduate and be receiving at the end of the month 3,000 Ghana cedis and above, so that you can buy them something, you can take care of yourself. But if you graduate, what betides you? And you change to be a librarian or something else.
What's wrong with being a librarian?
How much did you earn? Who knows you?
Their salary is not that bad. But you know what?
I know some librarians who's, well, anyways.
But you know one very sad thing, you know, with the analogy that you've shared, which is also very true. Okay. Our parents, because of their socialization, you see, we need to find out where we got it wrong. Okay. But because of their socialization, the whole idea is, you know, go to school so that when you come out, you can get a job. And then
make a lot of money.
Make a lot of money so that you can do A, B, C, D. But that is also a bad way of orienting children. Okay, a child that you are taking through all that is not even empowered, because that child does not see himself as being strong enough without a job which somebody else pays for. Okay, how about a situation where we begin to teach our children that they can be entrepreneurs, even from the age of 8 or 5 or 6? When you discover that your child can make cards, how about encouraging your child to make a card? You know, encouraging your child to make beads, encouraging your child to, you know, fix stuff and all of that. In the process, they discover themselves. And when they build that process, they get to a point where they become very distinguished people. We have so many people like that in our society. Some of these great musicians we have in Ghana and in Africa, there was a time when we used to call them irresponsible people, you know. But look what they are doing right now. See how creative they are. They are being studied in other jurisdictions. Okay, there's in the UK there's a course called Beckhamology, and all they're studying is David Beckham.
Wow.
Yes, you know, they call it Beckhamology, and people actually go to study it.
Wow.
Yes, and it's a process. And so why don't we encourage our children? Fela Nicola Okuti, before he died, said something very interesting. He said he didn't believe in Western education, you know, so he even had to pull his children out, you know, of the, you know, what we call Western education, pull them out of school and all of that. And he was citing an example with his son, Femi Kuti, and what he has achieved. You listen to that guy speak, you listen to Sheung, you know, his other son speak. You will hear intelligence, okay? Intelligence that sometimes you wonder where these guys get all the information from, okay? But they were hungry for knowledge, and they discovered themselves, and they were able to relate with their environment and understand what it means to be Nigerians or to be Africans. And so when they speak from an African perspective. They don't have to talk like Barack Obama. They don't have to talk like JFK. You know, they talk like Africans because they understand their environments. And that was what he taught them. That was the process, you know, that he took them through. And when I write about him, I recommend that parents do that with their children.
The issue is our parents do not know themselves. So they are not able to teach us to know ourselves.
Sadly. And that is why we're talking about, you know, this foundational issue. I'm hoping that we have a number of parents that are watching.
I hope they call in today, because
also pay attention to this.
But I believe we are growing, we are evolving.
Yes.
And there are parents who are also doing other things. So since you're saying, you know, money shouldn't be the only thing we should pursue and we should put our attention also towards what we yearn to be or our talents and our abilities. What can I celebrate in my life?
That question is tied up to the knowledge of self, to that discovery. Okay. Now, when we stop making money the issue, fulfillment becomes the target. Fulfillment. A lot of people have a lot of money, but they are not fulfilled.
But fulfillment will not pay my bills. I mean, I need Brazilian hair.
Good. It depends on what you want your bill to be, because you see, the moment you are fulfilled, okay, contentment becomes a tool. And when you're not content, the pursuit will be for money and for perfection. But there's no such life as a perfect life. There's no such thing as a perfect picture. There is no such life as a glamorous life. No life is that glamorous, okay? Whoever it is, I mean, you see some of the wealthiest actors and actresses, you know, and the wealthiest people committing suicide, and then you wonder,
I mean, what do they lack?
Exactly.
You guys driving the Lamborghinis and stuff.
You see, and so do you find fulfillment in that Lamborghini? What does it actually do for you? Okay, those things are so quote and unquote, you know, mundane. They don't go to the root of anything. But when you are fulfilled, when you love what you do, and you know one very interesting thing, when you love what you do, and you begin to use that thing you love to solve problems, you will get paid. It always falls into place.
Really?
Yes, you will get paid. You will get paid.
With that, I would like to ask, you know, there are people in the media industry, like the acting sector, who people genuinely have passion. They are great actors and actresses. But now they say the movie industry is dead. You have to, you know, evolve into like music because music is selling now. That's
their opinion. That's their opinion.
You don't believe that?
No, I don't believe that. And so you're looking at the Ghanaian movie industry. How long has the Ghanaian movie industry been around? I mean, it started effectively in the 50s, if you're going to ask me. Okay, but the Hollywood has been there all this while. The problem is that because we are looking at the wrong things, we are unable to continue to reinvent ourselves.
Okay.
We are unable to continue to pay attention to the things that will help us develop the industry, grow the industry, help us look at things from a different perspective. What are we adding? What are we introducing? And all of that. Are we going to stick with the same pattern, same script, same style, you know, same face, same attitude, same dressing, same costume, and all of that? What are we doing differently? What are we introducing to the business? Do you remember when Bollywood was about people flying from one end of the house to the other end of the house, you know, all the gazabs and the burning trains and all of the mud and all of that. But look at the kind of movies they are doing right now. They are reinventing. They are getting better. They are improving, you know, and that's what society should be about. Okay, if at some point you feel that, okay, as an actor, I need to move to the next level, it's all good. But that's you. Don't say that the industry is failing because of that. Will Smith started as a rapper. Now he's a celebrated actor. There are so many people, so many instances. But do not use your experience to talk down the industry.
Okay.
You can grow, you know, actualize yourself, be fulfilled with what you're doing, but you're just one small piece of the puzzle.
My question then is, what is fulfillment? If we are all talking about being fulfilled, because if we have the money, my money pays my bills. If I'm not owing, for example, if you're a student and you are going to write exams and you are not owing anything, you know that, oh, my fees are paid, I have textbooks that I've read, I have the slides because I have data enough to download the slides, then what is stopping me from studying? But if you are like me and you are going to write and you are owing this, you are owing that, invigilators will come, you don't have the cheats to show, you'll be running helter-skelter before you're able to come and write your exams. I mean, all the things you've learned, they've definitely evaporated from your head or something.
So I'll tell you this, and it brings us back to the knowledge of self.
Okay.
So I'm using myself as an instance.
Okay.
I want to study engineering, but I know the family that I come from. But I know that this is the focus. This is what I want. One of the first questions I should be asking myself is, what kind of lifestyle should I build around myself?
Okay.
How healthy is it? How productive is it going to be towards what I want to achieve? Okay. So I don't have so much. Okay. Why would I want to hang out with people who want to show off wealth?
Okay.
Okay. If I know that my school fees is just around the corner and I need to save to be able to pay my fees, I shouldn't be thinking about the Brazilian hair, and I shouldn't be thinking about Versace
my Nike,
and all of
my
that.
Adidas.
I don't have to think about all that. All I need is to be able to look presentable, look good, and all of that. Now, in the process of discovering myself, I know my targets, I know where I am going, I know the life I am meant to be living. I don't waste my time. I don't waste my resources. Okay? I don't waste virtue. I don't waste time on things that are unnecessary for me at that time. I don't have anything against you if you want to go to a party, but I can't afford to go to the party. So I need to get that into my head and say that because of the life I am living and the realities of my life, this is the path I am meant to walk. Okay, these are realities, but those are realities we never pay attention to.
Exactly.
And that's where that's a lack of contentment.
Okay, so I want to know, if I want to know myself very well, should there be a part of me that I should concentrate more on, and then, you know, just like, oh, this part, you know, it's like when you're going to write an exam, you know within yourself that these areas, come what may, they would come. But these areas are like, oh, let me just brush through.
That's a gamble, though.
Exactly. So gambling with my life, should I concentrate on one particular side of my life and then just brush through some other aspects of my life?
Balance is very, very important.
Okay.
Balance is very important, but there are just some things that you need to be very conscious about. I'll give you another instance. You might have a good voice. It doesn't mean you will make a great singer or performer. Okay. So you need to be able to, you know, tell yourself, okay, what tool you need to get through life. Okay. Do you just sing out of, you know, being romantic, you know, you just sing to make yourself happy, or can you actually sing something that people will be willing to pay for?
Would relate to?
Yes, you know, and if you want to, you know, sing something that people will be willing to pay for, are you going to pay the price to get there? Okay, are you going to pay the price to get there? What did it take Sarkodie? Okay, what did it take Becca? All right, did they just wake up in the morning and say, oh, my voice is good, so I'm going to make it happen? No, they paid the price. They groomed themselves. They dedicated themselves to study, to practice, to rehearsals, and all of that. It's not going to fall on your lap. You will pay a price. And there is something I have come to discover about life. The moment you begin to walk that path, and you're paying attention to the path, people are attracted to you who are going to either support you or collaborate with you to get to that point. And so one of the other things that it's going to do for you is that you need to now begin to learn your people skills. Okay, how do you know that the right people are around you? You know, how do you pay attention to what is going on around you in order to gain the best out of it? It's a mixture of a number of things, but I do not believe that because you are broke, okay, you will not be able to achieve the things you want to achieve in life. It might take you a bit longer, but you're definitely going to get there.
So would you advise someone to venture into something that they know in themselves, I have passion for this, but probably the probability of me failing is quite high. Would you still advise me to invest in that area?
So the first question is, why do you think you're going to fail? The problem is how quickly we want to succeed.
Okay.
And I always say to my friends that success is a process. You don't just get up and become successful. Some of the times, you know, I go on the internet and what I want to do is just look at the pictures of people like Edem, Sarkodie, Shatta Wale, Stonebwoy, and all of that.
Some of us, if we take ourselves out of the country, we'll go overboard. We'll be looking at Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Meek Mill.
You say, really? You know, but look at these guys today, okay? But the mistake we make is that we look at the result without paying attention to the prize, okay? You look at Sarkodie today, and you just want to be like Sarkodie. You forget that you are looking at the product of sacrifice, the product of time, the product of a process. Okay, so everyone that wants to succeed must understand that there's a time for it. And if you start now to pay the price to get there, you will get there. Okay, so, you know, I want to be like Sarkodie.
Yeah.
Then you have to do what Sarkodie did.
Okay.
I want to be like Stonebwoy. You've got to do what Stonebwoy did. I want to be like Shatta Wale. Remember there was a time he was Bandana. Okay?
Yeah.
He went
Rebranded.
he rebranded and went through all that process to get to where he is. Okay, so young people, we feel so entitled that we forget that you need to pay a price to get to where you're meant to be.
Okay, so if I'm paying a price, or if I'm doing exactly what Sarkodie did, I mean, is that not a little bit contradictory? Because we don't have the same background, we don't have the same environment. Is that not diverting me from my path?
So the thing is, you believe that that is your path. So the question now is, are you willing to pay the price? The price that Sarkodie paid might not be the price that you're going to have to pay, but you still have to pay a price to be able to get there. Sarkodie's story and Shatta Wale's story are not the same. Okay? But when you look at their pictures way back in the days, you're going to see some two really hungry boys. You know?
Exactly.
But the prices they had to pay, they are not the same. Okay? And so what you now need to understand is what price are you meant to pay? And for you to discover the price you're meant to pay, you need to pay attention to your reality.
Okay.
So for instance, Shatta Wale, I hear his father, you know, is wealthy, as it were. There's a few other musicians that may not have had that privilege.
Yeah.
So maybe Shatta Wale never had to struggle with being homeless. Okay, he never had to struggle with having food on his table. It didn't mean that he didn't have his own realities that he had to struggle with, because a part of the story also said that his father did not agree with, you know, the path he had chosen. Okay, so it was a price. There was an emotional price he had to pay, standing alone without the kind of support that he would have enjoyed if his father was backing him up. Okay, just like people like Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson that had their families backing them up. Okay, so it's different, but he still had to pay a price. And so when you pay attention to your reality, you will know the kind of price you need to pay. But when you don't pay attention to your reality, you will begin to live like Shatta Wale or live like Sarkodie.
And you might not even get to your own reality. Let me read some few messages. I want to find out. Some people fantasize about running away from their lives. I don't know why they do that though. So I would ask you, this person did not add his or her name. It says, "Dear, I like the program, Pa. Keep it up." Okay, you are watching from Odomase. Okay, this person says, "Good afternoon. My first time watching this program. Your guest is a reservoir of knowledge at Kobe from Takrade." So, Kobe, if you have missed some of the episodes, just go back on Facebook. You would get some. You get to know why I call him the African giant, because he has a lot of knowledge, and I would have to, you know, go underneath him for schooling for a while, because I need to read a lot about Africa.
Wow.
We were not taught a lot in
true.
school. We were not taught a lot. So people fantasize about running away from their lives because they see this perfect life that people portray, people put out there. How does someone, you know, who is fantasizing about running away from his or her life, you know, get back into his reality?
That's another very important question, and that is why I said at some point that no life is that glamorous. There is no such thing as a perfect picture. Okay, every life and lifestyle has its consequences. You know, price that must be paid, choices that need to be made, and all of that. And while you're aspiring, or while you are looking to have another person's life, what's happening to your own, and the value that you're supposed to add to society. You know, there are light-skinned people that are tanning themselves so much because they want to be darker. You know, and there are darker people bleaching themselves because they want to be lighter. And they don't realize that as they do that, they are hurting themselves some more. Okay, there are people that are struggling so much to live a life that is not their own. But you see, the life you've been created to live, okay, has a lot to do with the tools that are around you to live that life. And so when you begin to live a life that you've not been created to live, you are not equipped with the tools that you're meant to live that life with. And so there's going to be a lot of confusion. And you're going to continue to struggle with trying to, be whatever it is that you want to be. And it will ultimately break you. That's why there's a lot of depression, in people's lives and all of that.
People are just depressed.
Yeah. And one other very interesting thing. Nothing says that we all must live at East Legon or Trasaco or in any of those places. Nothing says that. And we must disabuse our minds, of the fact that people think that living in Trasaco is a sign of success.
That is the ish. If you live in Trasaco in Ghana, you are the ish.
Then you're soulmate.
You are the dawn of the whole area.
Yeah, but you still can be so indebted, running away from everyone, around you, and having your heart skip a beat every time your phone rings and all of that, because you are living in falsehood. You cannot afford it, And who says that you must use all your salary to just pay for house rent? What about the other things that are important in life? Okay, so you mustn't live in Trasaco to be a successful person. Okay, you need to be living out the purpose of your creation to be successful, and you need to be fulfilled.
The problem is, it's said that to accept what is justice, you have to recognize what society accepts as good. But this is a society where people accept that once you live in East Legon, Trasaco, you are rich. How do I, combine what the society accepts and what I myself personally am supposed to accept as my reality? Because if you are living around Kaswa, you are not even part of Accra. You are not in this area.
There's a difference between the conscience of the society and the foolishness of the day.
Okay.
And quite a number of times we run with the foolishness of the day without paying attention to the conscience of the society.
Okay.
I'll ask you a very interesting question. So somebody lives in Kaswa, has built his own house, okay, has made the place self-sufficient, and is connected with nature, connected with his family and all of that. Does not have to go late to work, does not have to bother about house rent and all of that. And someone living in Trasaco is unable to pay his rent, comes back home in the night so that his landlord does not see him, is afraid of his mobile phone, and all of that. So the person is not fulfilled and is just putting up an act, giving the people the impression that he's doing well. Who is living a better life?
Well, on social media, the other one is living a better life.
Social media is the foolishness of the day. Social media is the foolishness of the day. But the conscience of society, teaches us contentment. It teaches us that there are some things that we should value more than other things. Okay, we must understand that people need social and emotional interaction in order to be able to say they belong to a community. And we need to grow from that perspective and be better and add value to other people's lives. Not just to show off and say, you're doing well. Can you maintain that lifestyle? Because if you cannot maintain it, then it's useless to you.
Okay, so what then should I, as a human being, what should I be grateful for in my life? What should I appreciate?
The fact that you have friends, you have family, you're alive, okay? You look into the mirror and you have something to be thankful for. I don't need for
even when I don't have an iPhone X.
What is an iPhone X? What do you need? What do you need to do with it?
To have portrait pictures to put on Instagram.
To make phone calls.
You get 1K likes, and
after that, what does it translate to?
It doesn't pay the bills, though. it rightly doesn't pay the bills, though. What does it translate
to? You see, and that's what
it makes your friends or people around you respect you.
No,
they feel happy.
You might not even know whether they are friends or not. They're just people that admire you because you also feed their vanity. And so you might not be able to call them friends because they do not even understand also what they're doing. Okay, so if you wake up in the morning and your major aspiration is, I want an iPhone, there is nothing wrong with owning an iPhone. The question is, can you afford it? Can you maintain it? Okay, that is the question that people must ask
That's
themselves. And if you cannot afford an iPhone, why do you long for it? Does it mean that if you don't own an iPhone, your life is twisted, your neck is broken? What does it mean to own an iPhone if you cannot afford it? Okay, so there are so many things that we need to, begin to reorient ourselves about and stop saying to ourselves that this is what's going to make me happy and that is what's not going to make me happy. Remember, that there was a time when iPhone 3, let me use your word, it was the ish.
Yes.
Well, right now, if you had an iPhone 3, that's a yam.
You throw it away.
You would throw it away.
You would throw it away. Today, if you don't have iPhone X Max, you are not the ish.
Give it another 6 months. Another one will come out. So what are you going to do when that one comes out? You want to own it too. Okay. So that's why I call it the foolishness of the day. The vanity that would ultimately depress you and destroy you. And that's what steals our focus from us. So just like the point you were making. So you have a young person that says, I cannot afford to pay my fees.
Yeah.
But you would do whatever it takes to own an iPhone.
Yeah.
And you actually own one. People look at you and immediately see that you've misplaced your priorities.
Yes.
It's about contentment. It's about the knowledge of self, where you're coming from, what are your realities, and where you're headed.
Okay, so my assumptions about people, other people around me, does that have any effect, either negative or positive, in me knowing myself?
So there is, it's good. I think, okay, I want to make sure I'm using the right word. There is nothing wrong with being inspired, okay, by other people and their lives. For instance, forgive me, but this is what's coming to my mind.
Okay.
You look at Stonebwoy's picture, you look at Sarkodie's picture, you look at Shatta Wale's picture from 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You say to yourself, my brother, there's hope for me.
Exactly. There's this Sarkodie picture. I hope he's not watching. I hope he never sees this. But there's this picture of him some years ago. He had occiput and forehead, but right now he doesn't. I'm like, is it that the money has molded his head back to a beautiful shape, or he's had a plastic surgery or something?
These are all realities. But you're inspired, and you're saying there's hope for yourself.
Exactly.
And then you're saying also to yourself, if these guys can walk through the mills and get here, I too can get to where I'm going. Okay, now that's inspiration. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you begin to compare your life with the life of another, without even understanding what their realities are, their journey, the path that they are walking, it means you're not paying attention to yourself. It means that there's a lack of knowledge of self. Okay, I am happy with the fact that you're light-skinned and I am dark-skinned. Okay, but I'm not going to compare myself with you, so then I have to go back and bleach myself a little and come back and check whether we're now the same and all of that. And those are the things that breed envy and unhealthy competition, because I'm saying to myself that if until I am like Abner, then I'm not there yet.
Then I'm not there yet.
But that is wrong. And then you also have situations where somebody like you're a presenter on TV, you're doing well considering your reality and the things that you have to grapple with in order to do this job. But you're saying to yourself, until I get to Oprah Winfrey level, then I'm not there. Okay, but your experiences and her experiences are not the same.
Different.
She grew up in a system that is functional. Yes, there was this black issue and all of that, but her system was still functional and she was able to thrive through it. We don't have that kind of system here. Okay, and so there are so many things that she struggled with that you may not struggle with. There are so many things that you're struggling with that she would
not struggle
exactly.
with.
So she can inspire you. Okay, as somebody that you're saying that, okay, yeah, if she went through it, I can get to it as well. Let me learn a few skills from her. But when you're saying to yourself that until I get to become like Oprah Winfrey, then this job is meaningless to me, you've lost it.
After this break, I would ask two questions. Is the strive for perfection destroying us secretly? And if it's not destroying us, you find out after the break.
Today, we can't trust sources of water anymore. Confidence is gone due to human activities. same human activities introduces well-mechanized machines which purifies water. I bring to you ultimate natural mineral water. Deep from underground, tasty, well purified and corporately packaged. Ultimate natural mineral water. Let's drink the new. For bulk, call 020-379-1888 or 0244-515-801. Ultimate natural mineral water. My water, your water, our water.
You're welcome back from that break. So let me read some few comments. Then you can call in so you could share your experiences with us. Do you know yourself? Are there questions that we've asked today that you have asked yourself before? This is Della. She says, I'm looking good and awesome. Della, good afternoon. And this person says, hello, greetings to all of you guys. I am really interested in the program. I am from the Gambia in West Africa. I always listen to your show. My name is Banju. Okay, wow. Banju, we've seen you and we've read your message. So before the break, I was asking, is the strive for perfection destroying us secretly?
It depends on what we define
as perfect.
Perfection. What is perfect and who defines what perfect is? Okay, now you live in an environment where you know there are issues that you need to deal with. Okay, a man's or a person's responsibility, okay, is to do whatever it is he or she needs to do and to do it well. If that's what people call perfection, well, maybe. But you know, when people speak about perfection, you know, you're looking at, you know, when something is spotless, you know, and all of that. But society is progressive and society is dynamic. Yeah. So what is 100% today will not be 100% tomorrow. Yeah. So what are you pushing towards? And as we progress in life, we get older. There are things we will not repeat. You know, there are some things we might not be able to do again and all of that. You know, there was a time when Michael Jackson was the ish. I'm using the ish.
You heard my words.
Yes, you know.
The ish.
You know, there was a time when Michael Jackson was the ish. Yeah. And then suddenly Whitney Houston came and beat his song. Okay. There was a time when Pele was everything. And then we had Maradona. And then we had Ronaldo. And then we had Ronaldinho. We had Rivaldo. Then we had another Ronaldinho. Then we have these two guys now, you know, that, and Ronaldo, that will not leave the stage. You know, so would you say that Pele was not good enough at that time? You know, if Pele were to be in this generation, will he be doing as well as Messi and Ronaldo? So you see that these things are generational and territorial, okay, and we need to pay attention to some of these realities. So the strive should not be perfection. The strive should be fulfillment. Okay, the strive should be doing the best you can in every situation you find yourself. When you have done something and you see that, let's say you've written something and the T is not crossed, the I is not dotted, go back and correct it. Make it good. Okay, but when you say perfect, you don't even know what perfect means. Exactly. You're just measuring it from another person's yardstick.
Then I'm definitely going to ask, is comparing my life with other people's life, you know, a good thing?
That is one of the recipes for disaster and depression. Oh. Yes. Comparing your life with other people's lives means you don't even know where you're going and you don't have a knowledge of self.
But I'm a presenter. I see Nana Banamo on TV. If I don't compare myself to what she's doing, how, because I would say again, she's the ish now. So if I don't compare myself to the ish now, how do I become the ish?
Okay. You don't talk like her. She doesn't talk like you. You don't look like her. She doesn't look like you. You've not had her experience. You've not been through the things that she's been through in life, her struggles, her tears, and all of that. You know. So why do you compare yourself with her? Okay. Now, Nana Ba Namoa has been around for a while. Yeah. Now, you don't even know the reputation you're gonna have when you've been in the business for as long as she has. So why do you compare yourself with her? Okay, I think it would be crazy, you know, for someone who has been, and I'm not referring to you right now, but someone who has been in this media business for a year or 6 months to be comparing herself with Nana Barnamwa. She has been around. She has made her mistakes. You know, she is a star. But it was a process, okay?
Yeah.
This is where inspiration comes in. So let's say Nana Barnamwa has been in the business for 15 years, and you have been in the business for 2 years. You should be saying to yourself that when I get to the 15th year of my business, I want to be able to look back and say, this is what I have achieved.
Okay.
But if you're saying to yourself that
in 2 years, I'd have to be like how she is right now,
you will be depressed. It's just a matter of time because you're dreaming, you're fantasizing, and you break your back trying to do something you will never be able to achieve in 2 years. It will never happen. It will never work. Never, ever, 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 ever. It has never happened before. No life is that glamorous, and you will never jump, you know, in the shortcuts and all of that. Sometimes these shortcuts is overrated, and it doesn't happen. Just name one person that started and became whatever in 6 months or 2 years. There's no such person nowhere in the world. Nowhere in the world. But we never pay attention to the process.
to their storyline.
No, we just pay attention to the finished work.
But it's not our fault. That is what we are showed. We see the finished work, because I would never go on my Instagram and make a video of myself crying. But I do cry. But I would always come on my Instagram showing my wig, you know, smiling, showing my new dresses and stuff like that. It's not our fault. So let me ask my question before I read the message. No, let me read the message before I come back to the question, because I just want to know, if there's nothing like a perfect picture, if there's nothing I can compare my life with, then it means there's nothing missing out of my life, and then there's nothing wrong with my life. But let me read the messages. I'm still waiting for your calls though. So, good day. Thank you for this program. I have learnt a lot from your guest. I'm watching live from Ebra. Is it Papegua or Papegua? I think I've gotten the name wrong, but I hope you forgive me. Hello, my name is Mohammed from Northern Ghana. Great guest. Great program indeed. It's educative. And please, what is your guest name? His name is Loyogo. Okay. Okay. This person says he's captain from the Upper West region, and he's really enjoying the program. So, Loyogo, if there's nothing like the perfect picture, if there's nothing like a perfect life, then, and I'm not comparing my life with anything, then it means there's nothing actually missing from my life.
No, well, it depends on what you mean by what is missing from your life. So when a child is born, there's a certain age the child gets to. You expect that the child should be able to mumble something, or crawl, or walk, or something like that. You know, there's a point the child gets to. You know, you know that the child is able to chew, okay, and not just live on milk. And so you see that life is a process, all right, and you must continue to succeed for as long as you grow. So we must not be afraid of growth.
Okay.
We must make sure that at every point of our lives, we achieve the things that we are meant to achieve.
Okay.
And walk the path that we're meant to walk. Okay. But there will always be something to correct, something to improve on, something to get better in, and all of that. Something to prepare for as long as the future is concerned. So when you look at all that, you discover that maybe the notion should not be about, you know, there's nothing wrong with my life. The notion should be about, there are things I need to add to my life in order to continue to improve. Everyone has a tag. I think it was Abraham Maslow that called it, you know, the point of self-actualization. So everybody has something that he or she is aspiring to be. But there's a timeline, a realistic timeline, you know, or time frame that has to be set to achieve that. Okay, you cannot wake up suddenly and say, in the next 5 years, you know, I want to be a lawyer, have my master's, have my PhD, and become a professor. you must be smoking something. It's not possible. It's not possible.
You must be high on something.
You must be very high on something. You know, so it's not possible. So you need to set realistic timelines for whatever it is that you want to achieve. But you already have a target, and that target is that you want to be a professor of law.
Okay.
Okay. It has to go through a process. So as you're done with your level 100 and your level 200, what should be the next aspiration? What should you be working towards? Okay, what will be a distraction and how do you avoid it? You know, what is the tenacity with which I achieved my bachelor's? Do I need something stronger if I'm looking for master's? You know, these are questions that people who have discovered themselves need to ask themselves. What do I need to be eating? What is bad for me? If I eat this, it makes
Should
me
I be
sleep.
exercising? Should I be
Should I be
sleeping well?
exercising? Should I be sleeping well? You know, should I be going for a walk? What is good for me? Okay, all these things factor into that success you're looking for. Okay, but quite a number of times we always want the shortcuts, and the shortcuts continue to destroy us.
No shortcuts to heaven. There's a comment and a question here. Dela says, Loyogo, thank you so much for the knowledge. You really inspire me, and you made me realize a lot of things this afternoon. Keep inspiring us. Then she comes back to say, my question for you is, can someone compare his or her life to someone maybe he or she looks up to by working hard to be like the person one day?
So if that is in terms of being inspired, like you said, to work hard, okay, to become, say to become like the person one day, I don't know if that would be the right phrase. It's just like sitting down and saying you want to become like Oprah Winfrey one day. What you don't realize is that by the time you get to what Oprah Winfrey is now, she would have been a better version of herself.
Exactly.
So what's going to happen to you at that point? Do you see? And so people will inspire you. But while you're being inspired, don't forget who you are. And don't forget the path that you're meant to be walking. Okay? Jerry Springer engages in a talk show like Oprah Winfrey, but he has a lot of controversy attached to it. Fighting and all the rumble that happens. Okay? But he's carving a niche for himself. They are both talk show hosts. Okay? Then you have what's this stand-up comedian's name?
Kevin Hart or Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. Okay. He's also a talk show host and all of that. But they are all doing it differently. So
the key word is differently.
Differently. So while you're being inspired by that person, don't forget who you are and the problem that you've been called to solve.
Okay, so then Sam from WA says, I am deep into your program, but I want to know if somebody asks me, who am I? What exactly am I going to tell him?
Okay. Stop telling them what you're known for.
Okay.
Okay, stop telling them what you're known for. Who really are you? Because when people know who you are, they'll become realistic about the expectations they have of you. So sometimes we present a perfect picture to people.
Yeah.
That is why sometimes when we react as well, they'll look at us and say, I can't believe
really?
you would do
Is that
such a thing.
you?
Is that really you? Okay, because we give them the impression that, no, you can't get angry. You know, when you're pushed, you will never shout. You won't even throw a punch. You can't hurt a fly. So they say you're a perfect gentleman. But when you tell people who you are, okay, and say, well, this is me, these are the experiences I have had, there are things I've been able to deal with, but there are some things I'm still struggling with, you know. So permit me if from time to time my voice goes a bit, you know, higher than the pitch, you know. It's because I'm still working on myself in that regard. So when it happens, the people are not taken aback. They truly understand. And even when you come back to apologize to them and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shout at you and all of that, they understand. Why? Because you already prepared them for it. And that is something we don't, you know, give to the people that we go into relationships with, especially in relationships.
There are some questions on relationship, but unfortunately, my time is up because there are some people you have to, who are toxic for you, and you have to, you know, let go of them. I wanted to ask, which people should we let go of in terms of building ourselves? Which people should we let go of in terms of our relationship?
So very quickly, there are people that just cannot fit into your life. All right, there are people that complain about some things that you do, but there are other people that will sit and not complain about it. Okay, you need people that are willing to make the sacrifice to help tame you, support you to be the best that you can be.
You can be.
You know, not people that bring the worst out of you, and not people that disregard your story, okay, and your reality.
They don't pay attention
They don't
to
pay
you.
attention to your reality, and so they don't even know how to help you. Okay, they mock your story. People like that should not be around you, because the people that you regard as toxic in another situation might be the best thing that happened in another person's life. So you need to be able to decide and say, this person does not fit into my life, but this other person does.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming. So, well, Mina, you sent me a message asking, how do you know yourself? Just check the people who fit in your life, and if they are not able to relate with you, just cut it. You know, I recommend that song for you, so just cut them off. So this is where I would end the show. I know a lot of you have been watching. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you guys be watching me. And Perpetual, I know you're watching. Lordine, I know you're also watching. And Connie, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to all my viewers as well. And those who are watching on Facebook too, a very big good afternoon to you. I'm leaving you this afternoon, but I want you to remember that be the best version of yourself and enjoy the rest of the shows on Pan African TV. Stay tuned.
Today, we can trust sources of water anymore. Confidence